Welcome back to Coronation Street Update. Have you ever carried a secret so devastating, so dangerous, that every day you stayed silent someone else paid the price? Because tonight in Weatherfield, a guilty conscience is finally starting to crack. And what Tyrone Dobbs is about to confess could change everything we thought we knew about the Theo Silverton murder case. But for one person, it may already be too late. Because while the truth remains buried, Summer Spellman is falling apart. And what happens next is absolutely heartbreaking. For weeks, viewers have watched Summer trapped inside a nightmare she insists she didn't create. Accused of murdering Theo Silverton. Locked behind bars. Abandoned by a justice system that seems determined to see her as guilty. And with every passing day, her hope has been fading. But then everything changes. A phone call arrives. The kind of phone call nobody ever wants to receive. Todd Grimshaw learns that Summer has been rushed to hospital. Not because of an attack. Not because of an accident. But because she deliberately made herself ill. And the reason why is even more devastating. Summer reveals that she switched off her insulin pump. She wanted out of prison. Even if only for a short while. Even if it meant risking her own health. Just think about that for a second. This isn't a criminal trying to manipulate the system. This is a frightened young woman reaching the end of her emotional tether. A young woman who feels so trapped, so hopeless, that making herself sick seemed like the only escape. And that is absolutely chilling. Todd is horrified. How could he not be? For months he has watched the people he cares about suffer under the shadow of Theo's death. But hearing what Summer has done to herself takes the tragedy to a whole new level. Because this isn't just about prison anymore. It's about despair. It's about a person slowly losing the will to keep fighting. And as Todd shares the devastating news with friends in the Rovers, the atmosphere changes instantly. The guilt, the tension, the fear. It all becomes impossible to ignore. But that may not be the whole truth. Because someone listening to Todd's words may be carrying a secret of their own. A secret that could set Summer free. And that brings us to Tyrone Dobbs. The man whose conscience is finally becoming impossible to silence. For weeks, Tyrone has been trapped inside a prison of his own making. Not behind bars, but inside his own head. Every time Summer's name is mentioned. Every time another accusation is thrown her way. Every time her suffering grows worse. The guilt gets heavier. Now, it has become unbearable. In one of the most emotionally charged moments of the storyline so far, Tyrone finally turns to Fizz. Terrified, broken, desperate. And then he says the words that could blow the entire case apart. I've done something really bad. Just those few words alone tell us everything. Because Tyrone knows exactly what his silence has cost. And then comes the bombshell. I'm the reason Summer's locked up. What? Imagine being Fizz in that moment. Imagine hearing your husband admit that an innocent young woman is sitting in prison because he lied. The shock must be overwhelming. But Tyrone isn't finished. He reveals something even more explosive. He knows Summer didn't kill Theo. He knows she is innocent. And he has known it all along. And that's when things take a darker turn. Because if Tyrone knew Summer was innocent, why stay silent? Why let her suffer? Why let her life fall apart? The answer is fear. Pure fear. Tyrone admits that on the night Theo died he saw Summer. He saw enough to know she wasn't responsible. But telling police the truth would have exposed something else. Something he desperately wanted to keep hidden. His own involvement in the Carl Webster incident. Suddenly everything clicks into place. The lies. The hesitation. The guilt. The panic. Tyrone wasn't protecting himself from a murder charge. He was protecting himself from another crime entirely. A crime connected to Carl. A crime connected to a moment that nearly ended in tragedy. And now viewers are left asking a terrifying question. Has Tyrone's self-preservation destroyed Summer's life? Psychologically, Tyrone's situation is fascinating. Because he isn't acting like a villain. He's acting like a frightened man. A man who convinced himself that staying silent was the safest option. A man who kept telling himself he'd speak up tomorrow. Then the next day. Then the day after that. Until suddenly, an innocent girl was sitting in a prison cell. And now that guilt is crushing him. Because deep down Tyrone knows something horrifying. Every day Summer spends suffering. Part of that responsibility belongs to him. But then another shocking revelation emerges. Tyrone tells Fizz about the night at the garage. The night he caught Carl sabotaging Kevin's brakes. The night he recorded evidence on his phone. The night everything spiraled out of control. And what happens next could be the key to saving both Tyrone and Summer. Because Fizz wants to see the footage. And if that recording contains the proof they need, everything could change. But will Tyrone finally go to the police? Or has he waited too long? Because the longer secrets stay buried in Weatherfield, the more destruction they cause when they finally explode. And make no mistake, this secret is a ticking time bomb. One confession, one video, one moment of courage. That's all it could take to bring Summer's nightmare to an end. But the damage may already be done. Because prison has changed her. The trauma has changed her. And even if she's released tomorrow, can she ever truly recover from what she's been through? My prediction? I think Tyrone's confession is only the beginning. The video footage will become crucial evidence. Summer's innocence will eventually be proven. But the emotional scars will remain. And when the truth finally comes out, the people of Weatherfield may never look at Tyrone the same way again. Because sometimes doing nothing can be just as devastating as doing the wrong thing. What do you think? Should Tyrone have confessed weeks ago? Is Summer ever going to forgive him? Will Fizz convince Tyrone to go straight to the police? And could the mysterious video be the evidence that finally destroys the case against Summer? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this Coronation Street deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another Weatherfield spoiler, theory, or explosive storyline breakdown. Thanks for watching Coronation Street Update. And remember, in Weatherfield, the truth never stays buried forever.